Woof.
Oof. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Dirt Diamond Sports Talk. I'm Ryan, here as always with my man, Wally. And don't forget, guys, you can find us live on YouTube now. And of course, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you find your favorite podcast. Give us a subscribe. Like, you can even comment on some of those podcast apps. Leave us some questions to address in a following episode. So tonight's questions that we're going to talk about a little bit. Did the Red Sox series that the Astros just finished up 2-3 change your confidence level, or was it just a good weekend? Is Brice Matthews forcing himself into the everyday lineup conversation? Would you rather Yiner's current contact heavy profile or a lower average with more walks? Now that we've seen a little bit of a change in the pitching, are they turning a corner, or did Boston just waste too many chances? We've got something to talk about there for sure. Is one of the biggest takeaways from this series with Boston the fact that they won 2 of 3 with Yainer going 1 for 14? We're going to venture outside of
That's with
Houston a little
Jordan.
bit.
Come on, man. Don't confuse Yiner and Jordan.
What did I say? I said Yainer? I mean Jordan.
You said
I
Yiner.
said Yainer again. Jordan is the biggest takeaway that Houston won with Jordan going 1 for 14. We're going to venture outside of Houston and ask the question, are the Atlanta Braves currently the best team in baseball? And one more thing about the Braves there is Chris Sale is in the news. Is he starting to really look like an ace? And does he have a Hall of Fame argument to be made so far at this latter end of his career? Wally, the Astros took that series in Fenway, 2 of 3 after dropping that opener. I don't know. I feel like this was more of an encouraging series as far as this season goes. And as of late, Houston didn't really need Jordan, as we kind of talked about there in the opener. Pitching was better. Brice Matthews is really having a breakout go and looking really good. Cam Smith delivered. The defense showed up in key leverage spots. I think that this series in Boston, despite the fact that it was Boston, really gave Houston fans maybe a little bit of hope that there's some real baseball yet to be played from this team.
Yeah, the Red Sox have turned into the American League's version of the Rockies. They're just really that you talk about a team that's
We're
just
gonna
having
clip that. We're gonna clip that one.
Just you talk about a team that's just having a bad year, and it's dysfunctional and it's a mess. And you wonder with Cora being fired, was Breslow just getting out ahead of things? But the team had no spark over the weekend. I think the answer to your questions with the Astros and the Red Sox was yes and yes. The Astros did what you're supposed to do against a bad team. You beat them. You don't necessarily have to make a big fuss over the situation. Now the Astros had some decent hitting. They did not hit in the clutch, but then again, the Red Sox were only 3 for 28 in the clutch with men in scoring position either. Astros 4 for 25, but the Astros hit the long ball. Yep. That's what put the Astros over the top, is they had 3 home runs in 3 games. Mm-hmm. They had an OPS of 821, and Cam Smith came through with a big hit today. The pitching was as good as the best 2 series the Astros have had with pitching all year is against the Red Sox, at home and on the road. Hello, what does that tell you?
Yeah, maybe a little something.
A couple of things that are encouraging is that they only walked 12 guys the whole series. There have been games when they walked 11, almost 12 guys in a game if I'm not mistaken. Four walks a game is still too high. You'd like it to have three or below, but it's a step in the right direction. 2.33 ERA, 1.44 WHIP, 16 pitches an inning, and a 62% strike. It's fine. It's not
Yeah.
outstanding, but it's fine. And they did what you're supposed to do against a bad team, is win.
Yeah. Well, so let's touch a little bit game to game. That first game was the frustrating one. 11 hits and only scoring one run. The offense just couldn't cash in with runners on base. You kind of already touched that. That game was decided by Duran's 3-run homer. Just kind of one swing that mattered for the Red Sox there. Burrows looked pretty good, right? 6 innings, three
Yeah.
earned runs on that one home run, only allowing one walk and getting 3 strikeouts. So it wasn't a dominant outing, but given how wild and inconsistent this pitching staff has been, watching that outing by Burrows was kind of another one of those. I don't know what you want to call it, a gold star or
He
a
deserved
check in the
better.
box that this team, is maybe still not 6 feet under quite yet. Um, so yeah, he deserved better as far as support by far, by far.
Yeah, he deserved better. He had one bad inning. That's kind of where Burrows has gone. Remember the start before, he had a perfect game through 4 2/3, got a
Hmm.
man on, and fell apart.
Yep.
Um, the next game, the one I find is interesting, is Arrighetti is being hailed as the savior, and he's really, he's been solid.
Yep.
His peripherals are a little scary.
Hmm.
He walked 5 guys in 5 innings. Okay, he gave up 5 hits, so he had had a whip of 2. Usually,
Hmm.
you don't escape with 1 run. Normally, if you got a whip of 2, you're sitting with 3, 4, 5 runs at least on you. Spencer's 4-0, but that sort of performance is a very dangerous way to live.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
but
He
but
he
give him
got he
credit
got some
for
support.
give him credit. He made the big pitches, got the outs when he needed.
He did. He did. And this was the game everybody's talking about, Bryce Matthews' game. His 3-run homer, that leaping catch in center field, to Rob Contreras. This game was kind of the one that people watched and were like, okay, yeah, maybe the Astros, one, don't need Jordan to be Superman. And two, maybe there's a few pieces that are kind of, warming up and coming together. Matthews, that catch made all the headlines for the defensive play. But that mattered because it wasn't just pretty. It prevented Boston from turning an inning into something that was so much bigger. So defense really hasn't been a big thing that we've yapped about, fussed about, complained about, or praised about either. Really, the defense has kind of been something that we've kind of just accepted as it was. But yeah, Bryce changed the game, changed that game with his bat, and protected that game with the with the glove.
You and I have talked about Matthews the last probably 3 shows.
Hmm.
There's little subtleties that are improving. The thing that we've been looking at, I think it really comes to the fore, is his strikeout rate is dropping. He was at 50%. Now he struck out 30% of the time this series, 10 at bats. Let's see, total plate appearances. He had 11 plate appearances, so 27% strikeout rate. Still too high. Like to see that number closer to 20. But one of the things I'm seeing with Matthews is he's starting to go the other way more, which means he's staying on the ball more. He had a little check swing hit to right field a few games ago that you don't have if you're trying to pull everything. He's certainly athletic. He's the one draft pick that Dana's had that's made it to the big leagues with the Astros and had some sort of an impact. And the interesting thing is when Jake Myers comes back, what do the Astros do?
Hmm.
Do they make a deal for Jake? Jake is Jake.
Yep.
I'm gonna put it to you. I think that as great a center fielder as Jake is, Bryce is going to give you more upside at this point.
It feels that way. I think Jake will be given his chance to continue to prove himself, or to come back and prove himself. But I think that if Bryce keeps this up, and Cam continues to deliver and contribute, then there might not be a whole lot of question as to what happens when Jake comes back. So yeah, definitely.
Something we got to watch with Cam. He had a big hit today, but his I was looking earlier. His end zone whiff is over 18%.
Mm, wow. Yeah.
Big number. Get for comparison, Jordan's is around 12.
Yep. Yeah, I'd love to see Cam be a little bit more consistent, for sure. And delivering the big swing today. I think that was a two
Boy,
out,
he
that two
needed it.
run single off the monster. Shoemake and Altuve coming around to score. That was, today's game was a little bit of a nail biter when it probably shouldn't have been. Abreu at the end there kind of scared us a little bit. Like you like to say, Brian Abreu can make coffee nervous. Can
Oh,
make
he
a cup of
can.
coffee nervous.
He can make coffee
Um,
nervous.
yeah,
Hey,
man. I mean, the
back a little
base.
thing. Back up a little thing on Cam's hit.
Yep.
You know, I don't know what people are talking about as far as if they're saying anything about Cam getting thrown out. But Cam did a really smart thing, even though he got thrown out. He tried to draw the throw, give the Red
Yes.
Sox credit for making a play to cut. I think it cut Matthews down at home on that. But you give Cam credit, for trying to get it to draw the throw to try to get that extra run home because it was with two outs.
Yep.
If you can get if he can draw the throw, yeah, I'm surprised Matthews didn't score. It's a close play.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Absolutely. Um, Back to Brian Abreu then, I guess. Two innings of shutout ball today, despite the scare of a bases loaded with one out there in the bottom of the 10th. So got the ground out double play. It was huge at the end there. Today's game it was not exciting, but the Astros did a lot of the stuff that they needed to do to pull the game off. Cam Smith, 3 hits, including that game winner. Walker and Vasquez, each with 2-hit games today. Um, it wasn't clean. It was a little tough. Boston had their chances for sure. Houston just made the last pitch, and that defensive double play at the end really put the wrap on it. You know, put the wrap on it. One of the things that I thought was great, and going into kind of pitching seeming to finally give the Astros a chance to win, is that the Astros only allowed 7 runs in this series,
Hmm.
whereas the last 4 series the Astros were in double digits runs allowed. So I think that that's probably the real story here of this series. The pitching wasn't perfect, but it was just good enough to let the offense play some normal baseball without, again, Jordan being a Superman. And not needing a 7 run rescue mission at the end of a game to win one. They didn't have to be elite. They just needed to stop being, you know, chaotic, inconsistent. I don't know what word do you want
Well,
to use,
what I
because
think was
at Fenway things can get out of hand pretty quick, and they
sure,
prevented that from happening.
and what was important about winning this series is they go into next week. They've got Los Angeles here, then they go to see Cincinnati for 4. Cincinnati's cooled off a little bit, but they're still a good team, and Tito Francona is going to have them ready to play. You want to go into that tough stretch with on a high, which they are. The Reds have lost 3 in a row. They've lost 4, 6 of the last 10. But they're uh, you like to see the vibe starting to get better.
Yes.
They went on the trip to Baltimore and Boston. They split. You said before the road trip, you said, okay, we'll split 6 games and call it good.
Hmm.
Give them how they've done on some series and underperformed how we thought they were going to do. maybe things are starting to settle out and they start winning some. People will quit talking about Espada being on the hook and just start worrying about games. They still have to win about 60% of their game, a little under 60% of their games to get to 90 wins. But you got to win them one at a time, and it's trite, but it's true.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of chatter out there on the Twitter and the X outside of Bryce Matthews being a real storyline, which we've touched a good bit on him already. The Yiner Diaz versus Christian Vasquez conversation. I think Yiner is quietly making a case for shut up, people. His last 14 games, this guy's hitting a 333 with an 826 OPS. His last 7 games, a 364 with an 818 OPS, a 130 OPS plus. Quietly, Yainer Diaz is doing Yainer Diaz stuff, and he's putting the bat on the ball, but he's not taking walks. In that same 14-game stretch where his OPS is 826, he has had not a single walk. What do you see, Wally? What is Yiner changed? How do you think that he could maybe make some adjustments and take some walks, or are you okay with him not taking walks because he's putting the bat on the ball and they're dropping?
Well, this is who he is. He's been around here long enough. What, this is his fourth season.
Hmm.
Um, we've been around him long enough to say this is what he is. You got to get used to it. It's been great to have Vasquez hitting, because then what it does do is it turns a position that was a question mark into a position of strength.
Yep.
Yeah. Now Vasquez is playing over his head. Let's just be
Well,
real.
if you look at the whole picture, yeah. But if you look at Vasquez's last 14 games, his OPS is 485. The
Yeah, but
guy's
I'm
done
talking.
nothing the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, you look at just the position itself. Vasquez over his last several years, since he left the Astros in 2022, has been it has been poor. The
Yes.
Astros. There's a reason the Astros were able to pick him up off the scrap heap. Yeah, because nobody else wanted him, and
Yeah, I mean
it wasn't like
they
it,
signed him to a minor league contract before
yeah,
they
people
gave
weren't
him
beating up.
this roster spot.
They weren't beating up Vasquez's door trying to say, "Come on and play with us." And so
Right.
he's fit in well. He knows the culture. He knows the team. Joe's used him in the right spots. Um, I think with Yiner, he is what he is, and I think the fact that he is what he is can lead to very high highs and very low lows.
Hmm.
But it does put his long term consistency at risk.
Yeah, it
When
it
he
does.
when he controls the zone, he's a beast. Unfortunately, he doesn't control the zone all that much, and you hope he can at some point in time it all clicks where he does control the zone, because few players on the Astros have balls that jump off the bat like they do with Yiners.
They do. The most exciting thing for me in that 14-day streak is a slug of 500. And I think that that's what we need out of Yiner. I'm okay with not taking the walks. If that slug is up there in that 450 to 500 range, um, yeah, then we're getting out of Yiner, like you said, what we know we should be getting out of Yiner, and let Yiner play Yiner ball. And he's going to play at the bottom of the lineup where, good extra base hits, good strong hits where you've got a couple of guys or a guy on base in front of you, um, and runs scored. That's what you want and what you need out of Yiner there at the bottom of the lineup.
Yeah, you can't expect him to do what he's not.
Exactly. Exactly.
He's just not.
Yep. Yep. Let him be who he be. All right.
There's
So let's leave the friendly confines of Houston, and we picked on the Atlanta Braves to really kind of discuss what's going on as far as the echelon of teams right now. And I think that we can probably clearly say, even with the Dodgers coming to town, because we know that their last two series weren't that convincing that the Dodgers are the best team in baseball. Um, is it the Atlanta Braves?
There's three teams up that you can say that are clearly in that top rung. You've got the Braves, you've got the Yankees, you got the Dodgers. Yeah, you're right. The Dodgers have. Uh, I saw something they lost um, 9 of their last 15 or something along those lines. Every team's going to go through that, aren't they?
Yeah.
The Braves have been consistently the best team for so far this year. The Yankees you can get an argument from the Yankees. Throw some numbers out. The Braves are outscoring their opponents by 1.7 runs a game. That's a bunch. Um, what's driving it looks like, is they've got guys like Ozzy Albies is having a comeback here. Dominic Smith is is the player that they thought that the Mets thought that they were going to get all those years ago. Mauricio Dubon, he's got a 752 OPS. Now, is a Dubon a 752 OPS guy? I don't think so. He's not going to keep that up. But Ha-Seong Kim is going to be coming back, and they can make Dubon into a utility player. Even if Dubon's a 700 OPS guy, as a utility player, he's great. Dominic Smith is one you wonder, is it flash, or is it really the player that they thought he should have been all these years? Ozzy Albies has been an underperformer all these years. History will tell you
Acuna's not even peaked.
Acuna's not having that great a year, and he's on the IL.
Hmm.
Austin Riley's not having a great year. You would expect that guys like Riley and Yastrzemski and Acuna would get better. Smith, and Dubon will go to the mean. But really, what's driving them is guys like Olson, Drake Baldwin, and Michael Harris second are having, or Michael Harris 11 is having a great year. Um, it's
Yeah,
you
I
talk.
got that joke. Hopefully somebody else did too.
Sorry.
That was
Um,
good.
um, couple of guys in the pitching side that are really having a comeback year is Bryce Elder. Martin Perez is having a great year. I trust Elder to maybe keep it up. Martin Perez is going to slide. And what they've done is guys like Spencer Schwellenbach have been out. He's out the whole year. Spencer Strider's been out, and they've been able to overcome those, make up for those guys being out. And their bullpen's been great too. Robert Suarez has picked up for the injured Jose uh, uh, Raisel Iglesias. He's got 4 saves, whereas Iglesias has 5. Um, Chris Sale remains a solid starter. He's 6-1. It's a team right now that's not showing any weakness at all.
Mm-mm.
Um, what they've also got going for them is their division's not very good. They can
Yep.
relax and play.
Yep. Yep. This Atlanta team, this Atlanta team, the Atlanta Braves as a whole have had some extremely great teams over the course of the history. Iconic teams, dominant teams. Interestingly enough, though, this 35 game start of 25-10 is the best 35 game start for the Atlanta Braves since 1892. You have to go back to 1892 to find the last time that this franchise started this well. That's historically good when you consider all of the great teams that have come out wearing an Atlanta Braves uniform.
Yeah. As old as I am, I don't even remember them.
Yeah. You brought up Chris Sale. Um, the guy is looking dominant right now. Ace level stuff, right? He's kind of at the latter end of his of his career. I would say. I think most would probably agree. Do you think? And this was Wally's question to me earlier, but I'm going to pitch it back to him. Um, do you think Chris Sale has a decent argument or a decent case for entering the Baseball Hall of Fame?
He's getting there. He's got like a 629 winning percentage. He's won 51 games, 151 games in his
151.
151 games in his career. You know, wins are not prioritized as they used to be. I am old school and say wins still do matter because it shows me a pitcher who can get the big out when he really needs to and put a team on his back to win the game.
Yeah.
Um, he's at 151 now. I think he needs another between 25 and 35 wins. If he gets to 180, I think that he's got a good argument because he's
Hmm.
also been the dominant pitcher on his team and on that top fringe of uh, pitchers in the league for many years. He had the several years with Boston when he only won 17 games over 4 years.
Hmm.
So people thought he was done. So once he went to Atlanta, he's kicked it back in. Last year he was hurt. He was only 7-5, but he's 6-1 this
Yep.
year. Let's
Yep.
just say he gets to 17, 18 wins. 18 is the most he's won in a season. He gets to 18. That means they put him another 12. It gets him to 163. He has two more seasons to get him to 180 and change. I doubt he gets to 200.
Yeah.
But yeah, he won't be a first first ballot Hall of Famer, but
Mm-mm.
he's kind of like Altuve. He's not there, but he's on that track to get him there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think the guy's 2024 season was kind of the resume unlock. Really, I think without that dominant 2024 season, it's not even considered.
Hmm.
I think 2024 is what makes him a real candidate. He's had 9 All-Star collection selections. He won the World Series in 18. In 2024, this was what I was talking about. This is the resume highlight. National League Cy Young, Triple Crown, Gold Glove, and National League Comeback Player of the Year. He's won strikeout titles 3 times, 2015, 17, and again in 24. So yeah, I think that 2024 season is what gives the edge to really even put Chris Sale in a potential Hall of Fame conversation. Without it, it's not. But yeah, so far 7 starts, 6-1 with a 2.14 ERA, 49 strikeouts in 42 innings, and an under one WHIP so far this year. Um,
That's pretty
yeah,
good.
it's pretty darn good.
That's
I
pretty
think Sale.
good.
And he's not just adding sympathy innings. I mean, this Atlanta team is a plus 81 run differential. They're not just leaving him out there to eat innings for the sake of eating innings. I mean, his pitching is legit. He's adding ace type stuff to every game that he's on the field for.
Yeah, no, um, one of the things also that Sale has going in his favor when you look at the guys who are pitching now and look at the number of wins they have on added to what his ERA, et cetera is. There's not going to be many guys coming out that have that. I think there's going to be a sentiment that we have to get starting pitchers in the Hall of Fame. When Sale comes, you look at the guys who are retiring soon. I think you've got Verlander's won 264 games, something like that, 265.
Hmm.
Since Kershaw retired, I don't think there's anybody else who has over 200 wins. I think the next high Sale is pretty far up the list he may be the second highest of uh, in active players and number of wins behind Verlander. I don't
Hmm.
know that off the top of my head. I can't think of
I don't.
anybody that's ahead of him.
I don't think so. I really can't. Kershaw, no.
Kershaw's retired.
Right, he retired. Yeah. Yeah. I can't think of anybody.
So I think there's going to be a reset on the standard. 200 is going to be the
Yeah.
new 300.
Oh, for sure.
Someone gets 200. And put this on there. Kurt Schilling ought to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I don't
You
disagree.
know, Schilling
Not one bit.
Schilling's in there. Schilling's not in there just because he rubbed some guys the wrong way. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, decided to talk
That's not
political.
how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, no, no, not at all. Not at all. All right. Well, going into this LA Dodgers series, um, is the cleaner version that we saw of Astros this weekend? Is this Dodgers series coming up a measuring stick, a reality check? Is do we now take a look at this Dodgers series as something more serious than we kind of discussed last week, and we're still really looking forward more to the Rangers and Mariners coming up mid month?
Well, they you tell me what this is going to be like. The pitchers that they've got Okert as an opener, Peter Lambert and Lance McCullers against Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Otani, and Glass now.
Yeah,
The competition just got tougher, guys.
yeah,
You want a series that you should win. Now let's see what you do when you're playing some of the big boys.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think so too. I think it's going to be both a reality check and a measuring stick. I think that this upcoming series, the benefit of being at home is huge. And I'd love to see these guys just continue to do what they've been doing. They didn't face incompetent pitching in Boston.
No,
And so I think that being that they could pull off a little bit of offense, it wasn't ungodly. Some of it mattered when it needed to matter. And I think that maybe, I don't know. I don't want to be a homer and just say, maybe we hit a turning point. But maybe these guys just got beat down enough that they said, you know, F it, we're going to go out there and we're going to actually play baseball the way we know how to play baseball and quit running around the bases with our tail between our legs.
yeah. Here's to me the key of the series. You've got Oker going as an opener. How
Yeah.
does that game go? How does the game go before the fifth inning?
Hmm.
Okay, can Oker throw 2+ innings? Yeah, I think you get him through the first. Can you get him through the second? Can he get an out? Get a few batters into the third, so you can save your bullpen for the rest of the series. They've got an off day on Thursday.
Hmm.
So guys who you might not normally push, they're going to push because they know they're getting rest.
Yep.
Uh,
I
um,
I think the Astros need to put a calendar of the last few Dodgers series on the wall in the clubhouse. Um,
I think we ought to put a trash
I'm
can in their
looking.
dugout.
I'm that too.
I
That
think
would
it'd be
probably
hilarious
help.
to put a trash can in the Dodgers dugout.
Yep. The Dodgers lost two of three to the Cardinals.
Cardinals will be good
Lost
this year.
lost two of three to the Marlins. Took two of three from the Cubs. Lost two of three to the Giants. Split a series with the Rockies. This is since middle of April. The Dodgers haven't been
They
dominant. This is a
no,
team that the Astros can. This is a team that the Astros can beat.
yeah. If someone says before the series we'll give you 2 out of 3, you don't have to play the series. I'm like sold.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, you mentioned the Cardinals. I don't think they're this good, but who on their dance card, their bingo card had the Cardinals being 20-14. They cleaned our
Yeah.
clock when they
Yep.
came in.
Yep.
They beat us like a rented mule.
Yeah. We did not look good against the Cardinals. Yep. Yeah, man. All right. Well, any final thoughts before we roll up and wrap up the week?
No, I think it's a good series win. Like you say, I think you don't want to be too high on this series. It feels like things we've said the starting pitching feels like it's getting lined out. We did that before in the
Mhm.
last show. It's Cody Bolton was an opener today, but the rest of it seems like it's getting lined out a little bit. And if they can get it, Brian Abreu's appearance today might, if it turns around, might be one of the most important appearances that they have for the whole season
Yeah.
because he's got such electric stuff. If he can get it straight, and let's not kid yourself. The guy went 2 innings and 2 pressure innings when the guy had been terrible all season.
Yeah.
You
Today
know,
was definitely high leverage for Brian Abreu.
so how does that carry forward? Is this something even when Hader comes back, you're going to slot him in the eighth? Well, those are leverage innings too. So I think that
100%.
my closing thought is that take a look. If things get better for Abreu the rest of the season, put a circle around today's game, and note that this is where it started.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I think today was huge for Brian Abreu, definitely. Yeah, this series could have been pretty huge for the Astros if they needed a good confidence boost going into Fenway and putting together a couple of really good total package games going into a series against LA, who is a at this point looks like a beatable team. They're not the big bad mamma jamma that a lot of people have really played them out to be. Spent a bunch of money. We'll see how Kyle Tucker is received coming back in a Dodgers uniform into now Dyken
Well,
Park.
they'll
So,
have a video. No, they
oh,
won't have
they
a video.
better.
No, they
No,
won't
no,
because
that's
they had
right.
him with the
No,
Cubs last year.
they did it last year with
He's
the Cubs.
he's
You're
just a
right.
dude now.
He's just a dude in the Dodgers uniform now,
Yeah, he's a dude.
batting 240 something,
Yeah,
getting paid $1 billion.
rich people's problems.
Ooh, man, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Well, all right, guys. Hey, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Dirt Diamond Sports Talk. Don't forget to click that subscribe button. Give us a like. Head over there to YouTube so you can watch the video of our ugly mugs talking baseball night to night. Hey, guys, thanks again. I'm Ryan.
Thanks,
That's my
everybody.
man, Wally.
Appreciate it.
Go Stros.
Go Stros.